Hi teacher, this is my presentation for the first STEM exam. I want to talk about the Asia continent, and this is the content of my presentation. The first part I want to talk about politics, then culture, then geographical aspects, then history and economy and how they are connected, and then why is important this information. First, talking about the political aspects, we saw that the continent have 49 sovereign states and 6 dependent territories. All these countries are in the Organization of the United Nations. The 50% of the countries are republic. Have this type of political regime, and have others like monarchy and sultanate. Another important aspect is that the continent has the most communist or socialist countries in the world. Talking about economic integration, there are 3 very important institutions that are the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, created in 1977. The second is the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, the SAARC, that was created in 1985. The third is the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC, that was created in 1989. The most developed institutions are the ASEAN and the APEC. Then, talking about cultural aspects, we have that the main languages of the Asian continent are first the Chinese, that is like the 50% of the countries that talk in the countries. Then we have the Indian language. Then we have the Arabic, and the other percent is with other languages. Then we have the main religions that are practicing in the Asian continent, that is Buddhism, is the Islam, and Hinduism. Finally, we have some customs that have this continent. First, they have a philosophical and religious traditions that is very important and to highlight in this information about culture. They have a lot of celebrations by festivals in the countries. The honor and reputation of each person is very important for them. Then we have a very highlight respect to the family, and they are very focused in the striving for perfection. The main geographical aspects of Asia is first, that is the largest and most populous continent in the world, like 4 billion inhabitants approximately. Then we have the borders of the continent, that in the north is the Arctic Ocean, in the south is Indian Ocean, in the east is Pacific Ocean, and in the west the border is with the Europe continent. And finally, we have that the natural resources that they have are first the minerals like metals, oil, gas, that improve the labor of mining. Then talking about water or the sector of fishing can be very important for this. So they have a lot of extensions of water resources. Now we have the agricultural soil, and then we have that this is one of the continents that use the air to produce wind energy. And finally, a curious fact of this continent is that Asia have the highest peaks in the world. For example, the Everest. Talking about economical aspects, we have that in the Doing Business report, the countries that are easiest to negotiate are Singapore first, then Hong Kong, and in the third place we have Japan. We have that in the gross domestic product of all the continent represent a quarter of the GDP of the world economy. It's very, very important. And finally, the World Economic Forum said that the more competitive economies of Asia are Singapore, Japan, and South Korea. Now we have some relation between the history and the economy of the continent. First, I want to talk about the Warring States period, that it's in 221 before Christ to 5th before Christ century. And in this period, this warring promote works with iron, and in this period begin the use of some minerals that are very important now in the economy. The second fact that I want to highlight is the Qing dynasty, that was between 221 before Christ and 206 before Christ. And in this period, the dynasty support the agriculture with some reforms that currently are very important for some sectors. The third is the Tang dynasty, that was between 680 after Christ to 907 after Christ. And this dynasty improved the expansion of the kingdom, and these have a lot of benefits to the population, specifically the benefit to silk trade route. And at this moment, we have that the manufacture of clothing is a very important economical sector for the continent. The fourth, we have the Song dynasty, that was between 960 after Christ to 1279 before Christ. And in this period, the dynasty improved the technological advances of manufacture specifically, and this promote that the agriculture economy that have after promote then the commercial economy that now have some of the countries of the continent. Then finally we have the Yuan dynasty, that was between 1279 after Christ to 1378 after Christ. And finally, in this period, the monarchy boosting the international trade. So for this reason, a lot of countries of the continent have the most important export to the world. Okay, next we have the main economic sector and the producer countries that are more important. In the north of Asia, we have that the main sectors of economy are crude oil and refining, and the minerals extraction. And the main producer, of course, is Russia. In the south of Asia, we have that the main sectors are the agriculture, the manufacture, and the clothing materials. And the main producers countries are India, Pakistan, and Nepal. And the southeast of Asia, we have that the main sectors are electronic equipment, clothing materials, and agriculture. and the main producer countries are Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand. Finally, we have in the West, the main sectors are oil and gas extraction and agriculture. And the main producer countries are the Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. And the East, we have that the main sectors are automobile parts and iron and steel products and communication equipment. And the main producers and the main producer countries are China, Japan, and South Korea. And as I mentioned in the history, we saw that it's very important the agriculture, the improve of the equipment of manufacture of clothing, and the natural resources that have this continent. Why is important to know all this knowledge for us as international business professionals? Because then it's a requirement to have knowledge about general culture, not just of Asia continent, just because it's important to be competitiveness and to form our own criteria. So for this reason is very important. And if we want to talk about negotiation between countries of Latin American and the continent of Asia, some countries of the continent of Asia, we have to know how is this culture, how is the economy, how was the sectors, the main sectors, and now we have a panoramical vision of we can mention or we can entrepreneur a business. Thank you for your attention, teacher.